Peace, love, and balance, everybody. Peace, love, and balance, y'all. It's your girl Isha, the goddess of wisdom, also known as Goddess on the Rise, the Copper Queen, the Flower Hoodie Queen, bringing this sacred energy exchange to y'all. All right, y'all. So look, it's Sunday. It's Domingo Day. I decided to wear yellow today and paying homage to the sun. This is the perfect day to do any type of sun rituals and work with any type of sun deities, whatever your spiritual practice or religious practice is. That's what Sunday is really a good day for. So, which is, you can take a spiritual bath today to draw in some of that sunlight. I did do a spiritual bath today. I just actually got out of one and cleansed because I did readings yesterday at this event that was great. And I tell y'all know you got to cleanse after any type of spiritual work, specifically people that do Reiki healing, massage therapy, even physical therapy, uh, tarot readings or divination readings like me, energy work of any kind, because we're actually tapping into somebody else's portal, right? And energy force. And sometimes energy, when you're doing that type of work, different type of negative energy can get in and interfere with yours. So you always got to cleanse before and afterwards, y'all. So I know Saturn, some kind of retrograde Saturn and Pisces or something like it is going on right now. So if you've been feeling a bit overwhelmed, that's why. I have not done a live about that, and I probably won't. But somebody came up to me yesterday asking me how I've been feeling energetically, especially in areas of the head. So I feel like I do want to remind y'all that we're in this Pluto Aquarius retrograde that we're about to be in for the next like 40, 50 something years or something, maybe even longer. I can't remember off the top of my head. So that transformation energy and that air energy from the Aquarius and Pluto together, and this is the age of Aquarius, y'all. The changes that we are going through are happening so rapidly. It's uncomfortable. It makes you feel a bit crazy. So I do recommend finding ways to stay grounded, finding ways to keep your energy purified as much as possible. Like I said, baths and going outside, getting proper sleep, eating well, staying hydrated, y'all, because this energy is just not no joke. And I tell y'all, I'm not going to be able to explain it all. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be able to explain it, every single situation that happens and stuff. But yeah, so all right, y'all. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. So look, this reading is called Lots versus Ruins. If you do not know, I sell them both, Lots versus Ruins and stuff like that. These are ruin stones, and I've told y'all about these before. I sell them in my shop at Goddess on the Rise Life, and these are what they would consider lots. But I got them in my shop called Astro Dice because they have a zodiac sign on there. They have numerology on there. And they have different planets, and it's 3 different dice, and you can roll the dice or you can cast a stone, right? So I'm going to get into the history behind that. My shop is in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm going to get into the history behind all of this, y'all, and how this stuff got demonized a long time ago, okay? It got demonized, and it's still demonized amongst, depending on who you ask. It's still demonized, but I'm also give you a little history on why it was demonized. And I tell people, anything religious or spiritual can be used in a negative way depending on the practitioner. Okay, we know guns have been considered a deadly tool that's been very harmful. In some instances, it saved people, and in some instances, that same gun has did the worst harm in the wrong hands. Right? So demonizing something just because the power of something got into the wrong hands is what happened here, y'all. Okay, that's why they always telling us stay away from that stuff. So from their point of view, like I know people that do not like guns. They're anti-guns. They don't even care. They feel like they wish they never were created, right? And you have to still understand that from other people's point of view, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. You have to still understand that from other people's point of view or why they demonize something, especially with their experience, where they done been through years and years of gun violence and lost family members or friends from gun violence. Obviously, they're going to be somebody's like, no, you know what I'm saying? But if for somebody else that's done caught serial killers and put them down, rapists, different stuff like that, it's a heroic tool. It just all depends, y'all. And that's just the world we live in. That's just the world we live in. Let's ring the bell on that. That's just the world we live in. So, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna ring my bell and call out the elements and get us into a spirit, okay? Earth, air, fire, water, spirits, the universe, most high, higher self, and spirit guides of balanced light. Ancestors known and unknown of balanced light, please come into this space and provide the collective with a divine message for the lots versus runes lecture. Islam and Hotep, y'all. Islam and Hotep. So I do got some notes, y'all. I do got some notes, and I'm going to read from them. I'm telling you, I'm going to quote some different Bible verses. Y'all know how I do. I'm going to quote from the good old text, okay? And I'm going to give y'all Bible verses. I'm not going to read all of them. So if you want the storyline, thank you so much. If you want like the storyline behind stuff, I'm gonna give you the Bible verses that you can look into yourself. But I'm not gonna read. It's I have several Bible verses on here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 different Bible verses that quote about casting lots in the Bible, okay? And y'all will have to go to them yourselves and read more because that's going to be a lot. I'm not going to do all that on here. So this is something I'm going to be reading from on my tablet about casting lots, and you see the dice up there on the corner of the picture, okay? So we got right here, what was casting lots in the Bible? It got the practice of casting lot is mentioned dozens of times in the Bible. What was it exactly and how did it work? And what did the ancient people of God hope to achieve through the practice of casting lots? And notice it's called casting lots. And in the Bible, it just says, so anytime you hear the term casting, what do we call casting a spell? Casting the ruin stone. So anytime you hear casting, that's some type of spiritual work being done. If the word casting is being used, casting, what's casting, right? You casting a spell. So we know that they was using that type of work back then. Now it has right here example of casting lots in the Bible. When the Israelites left Egypt and conquered the land of Canaan, the promised land, Joshua divided the land among them by casting lots. So, and that is going to be in Joshua 18, 1 through 8, but I'm going to read Joshua 18 verses 6, 8, and 10 to tell you about this. So they will use casting lots in ways to make decisions and stuff, including splitting and dividing things up. And it helped, okay? Because instead of them fighting over it, they utilize casting lots, and that's what we get flipping coins from when they be like heads or tails. All that stuff is considered in that energy where they're gonna leave it up to fate, right? Leave it up to God. Whatever the coin flips on, that's the person, right? So let's go to Joshua chapter 18. And Joshua is going to be in the Old Testament, y'all. And this is the King James Version that I'm going to be reading from. Thank y'all for tuning in today, okay? I'm going to be reading from the King James Version, okay? So Joshua chapter 18. And if I seem a little sleepy, y'all, I actually am. I really am, but I didn't want to keep putting this off. I just wanted to get this message out, okay? So here we go, chapter 18. Remember, you can read verses 1 through 10, chapter 18, but I'm going to specifically read verses 6, 8, and 10, okay? The verses that specifically speak about casting lots. So Joshua chapter 18, verse 6 speaks of, ye shall therefore describe the land into 7 parts and bring the description hither to me that I may cast lots for you here before the Lord our God. Okay. So obviously remember I told you they split the land up. They used lots to determine who got what, making decisions for them. Okay. This kept, this prevented a lot of fights too. You know what I'm saying? So, it prevented a lot of war until it didn't. And we're going to talk about that too. Okay, then we have Joshua chapter 18, verse 8. And the men arose and went away, and Joshua charged them that went to describe the land, saying, go and walk there through the land and describe it, and come again to me that I may here cast lots for you before the Lord in Shiloh. So he was pretty much telling them, y'all go and check it out, see if you like it or not. If you like it, we can cast the lots and make sure it's fair. So they kept saying casting lots a lot. All right. And then we got Joshua chapter 18, verse 10. And Joshua cast lots for them in Shiloh before the Lord, and there Joshua divided the land unto the children of Israel according to their division. So that's how they say the children of Israel, which were they determined who got what when they split the land up, in the land of Canaan up. Okay. This was what they used, casting lots. Casting lots, y'all. I want to show y'all a picture of another picture of some pictures of the casting lots they had back in the day. So this was considered casting lots. Remember I told you the dice, and that's what this is right here. Same shape, and I'm going to get into what this shape means and why they had it on this shape. All right, it's a 12-sided dice, I believe. And then here go the lots. These are the lots. Don't they look similar to this? Casting lots. These are all ancient tools. And those words are actually in Hebrew, okay? So I know, there's different stories about where the origins of ruins and all this stuff stem from, but it's all stem from far back, okay? So far back. And later on, the names just have changed, okay? From different cultures. So it has right here, I'm going to show y'all some of this. Lot casting divination of the Hebrew tribes. So I know the Hebrew Israelites going to be turned up about this. And it has casting lots to find the will of God. So that's what I want to explain to people that practice Christianity. Before the Christian Bible, before, you got to think, before all the people that did the great works that we're reading about in this Bible was put together, this is supposedly their stories. So then putting this Bible together and saying you're supposed to follow this, I mean, that means y'all can cast lots. Now, I know they got Bible verses says, oh, we're not supposed to go by the Old Testament no more. We're supposed to go by the New Testament and all that stuff. But y'all, see, that's what I'm talking about. So in that case, that means we can change stuff now because they change stuff all the time. Back it's no different from the corporation we live in. If you live in the U.S., how they can just change laws anytime they want to. The person that can just change laws is just the person that's in charge. Just like King James wrote this Bible in the version that he wanted to. Look, King James Version. This is just about who the person in power was, can write whatever they want and instruct however they want and command however they want. That doesn't make it true. You know what I'm saying? So, also, we're going to probably get into this later, but I'm going to go ahead since we're already in the book of Joshua. Joshua chapter 14, verse 2. Okay? Now, specifically in Joshua chapter 14, verse 2, it says, by lots was their inheritance, and the Lord commanded by the land of Moses for the 9 tribes and for the half tribes. So it said by lot was their inheritance. So by casting of the lots, they was able to determine what their inheritance was. Okay? And it said by the hand of Moses. Hold on, it says as the Lord commanded by the hand of Moses. Let's read that again. It says as the Lord commanded by the hands of Moses. So the Lord commanded them to cast lots. By the lots were their inheritances, as the Lord commanded by the hand of Moses for the 9 tribes, for the half tribes. So that's what I'm saying. The Lord, they was doing this from the Lord's orders. Y'all know I love that Lord. The Lord said they can cast lots and make these decisions. They got this from the Lord. And y'all heard Moses in there. Okay. So we're going to go to, let's see right here. Let's go back to this. It also says David appointed priests. So David appointed priests and their duties by casting lots in First Chronicles 24. David appointed priests and their duties. So yeah, they was able to appoint people to duties with this too. Let's go to that verse too. So it's going to be in First Chronicles chapter 24, and we're going to go specifically to verse 31. But if you want to read that whole chapter, you can, so you can get the whole storyline. But I'm not reading the whole one. It's going to be in the Old Testament. It's going to be in the Old Testament, y'all. It is First Chronicles 24, verse 31. Okay. So it says right here, chapter 24, verse 31. These likewise cast lots over against their brethren, the sons of Aaron, in the presence of David the king, and Zadok, and Ahimelech, and the chief of the father of the priests, and the Levites, even the principal fathers, over against their younger brethren. Okay. Now it goes on into this whole chapter in 24 how they use the lots to give all the decisions. Look, the third lot, it got right here. I'm gonna just read a little bit. Let me go down here. Thus they were divided by lot, one sort with another, for the governors of the sanctuary and the governors of the house of God were of the sons of Eliezer and the sons of Ethalmer. That was chapter 24, First Chronicles 24, verse 5. And then it starts going into the, and one take, the first lot came forth Jehorib, the second to Jediah. So that's chapter 24, verse 7. So it starts giving the decisions, like he said, the priest and their duties. So every time they cast a lot. So just think about this. This was their judicial system, judge, their court. So I'm saying this is how they had court. They cast lots in court, y'all. So they could assign people priesthoods and then their duties via casting lots. This is a court. This is a court hearing, pretty much. So if you read First Chronicles chapter 24, verses 1 through 31, it breaks all that down. Okay. So look, then we have here David's musicians were assigned duties by lots in First Chronicles chapter 25. So we're going to go specifically First Chronicles chapter 25 verse 8. But if you want to read First Chronicles chapter 25, the whole chapter, I recommend it. Okay, so you can get your own interpretation. Okay, so First Chronicles chapter 25 verse 8. Okay, it has right here, and they cast lots, ward against ward, as well the small as the great, the teacher as the scholar. Okay. This is, let's go up verse 7 again. So the number of them with their brethren were the instructed in the songs of the Lord, even all they were cunning, was 204 scores and 8. So this is just them, hold on. In verse 6, all these were under the hands of their father for song in the house of the Lord, with cymbals, psalteries, and harps for the service of the house of the God, according to the king order to Asaph, Jutham, and Heman. So this is the part where like he said, David was assigning the musicians their duties just by casting lots. You're gonna play harp. You know what I'm saying? And it was done. That was the system. Okay. Now it has right here. Thank y'all for tuning in. It has right here, as Jesus hung on the cross, the Roman soldiers divided up his clothing amongst themselves by casting lots. So look, this is how sick they were. That's what I'm saying. This is how this stuff got demonized, y'all. I'm just telling y'all how it got demonized, because the practitioner is the person that can use something for good or evil, y'all. It has nothing to do with the tool. We give it power. We gave it power. You know what I'm saying? So it had, as he hung on the cross, Roman soldiers divided up his clothing amongst themselves by casting lots. And that's in Luke chapter 23, verse 34. So now, if y'all remember, anytime somebody of high importance died or something, or transitioned, as we call it, their belongings became powerful, amulets and powerful symbolism that people could put up in auctions. They fought over. The value goes up because somebody, especially somebody like Jesus, Yeshua Christ, that got crucified. They conquered them, right? So when you conquer a person, you take all their money, you take their kingdom, whatever you can conquer, you take it, and you become empowered. So they took his clothes, bloody clothes, hanging on a cross. So let's see. It's Acts chapter 1, verse 26. Okay. Hold on. I take it back. That was, let me see. Luke chapter 23, verse 34. So let's go to that first. Luke chapter 23, verse 34. Okay. All right. Luke 23, 34, y'all. If y'all got a Bible, or y'all can go back to it later. So it says right here, and said Jesus, let me pick it up. Then said Jesus, remember this is in red when it's him speaking, Jesus himself. Then said Jesus, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they parted his rampant and cast lots. So apparently this is him. Okay, hold up. That was verse 34, chapter 23. Verse 35 says, and the people stood before beholding, and the rulers also with them decided him, saying, he saved others, let him save himself, if he be Christ, to the chosen one, the chosen of God, right? And the soldiers also mocked him, coming to him and offering him vinegar and saying, "If thou be the king of the Jews, save thyself." And as a superscription also was written over him in letters of Greek and Latin and Hebrew, "This is the king of the Jews." Man, y'all, that's crazy. But yes, so they was casting lots as he was dying on the cross. This is what this book is saying. I'm not saying this is true. This is just what the book says, okay? And they made a mockery of him because if he's so powerful, right? He's the chosen one, he's the son of God. Why can't you free yourself from hanging on this cross? I'm gonna be honest, that's a good point, y'all. I'm gonna just keep it real. I know people may not like that, but that is a good point. This is supposed to be the Son of God that was so powerful, and why would God send His Son powerless to die this way? So that's what they justify. They justify that Jesus did not fight and didn't do this because he was told by his father that he's supposed to die for us. So they say let him been told if the Lord, his father God, told him to fight, he wouldn't have died. But this was supposedly his destiny to die, his fate. That's a lot. I don't know if I would love to serve a father that want to sacrifice me to die. And it's a lot of sacrificial stuff in the Bible, y'all. I want y'all to know that. So it has in Acts chapter 1, verse 26, following the death of Judas Iscariot, Peter was directed by the Holy Spirit to appoint a new apostle to take Judas' place. Two potential candidates were brought forward for consideration, Joseph and Matthias. The apostle cast lots to make final selections. The lot fell on Matthias, and he was numbered with the 11. So yes, once Judas, and y'all know Judas, what he the one that sold Jesus out. So Judas, when he died, they needed to replace the disciple, and they replaced the disciple by casting of lots, and that's going to be in Acts chapter 1 verses 26. Let's go to that. Let's see. Yep, Acts chapter 1 verses 26. They used to cast lots. They used to cast lots a lot, y'all. So that's going to be in the New Testament. In the New Testament. Let's go. Like I said, chapter 1, verse 26. All right. It says right here. And they gave forth their lots. And the lot fell upon Matthias. And he was numbered with the 11 apostles. So, see what I'm saying? And it fell. So they had this thing where they would, however they did it, especially on the lap, however it fell, that was the one. It said, and then he with the number 11 apostle. So he became the 11th apostle after Judas. Okay. Now let's keep going. Thankfully I ain't been on here that long because I really didn't want to be on here. Like, y'all know I don't do more than an hour, but it don't even have to really be an hour. But hey, so look, it has right here, casting lots were a form of random selection. A modern equivalent might be flipping a coin, drawing straws, or rolling dice. Our modern word lottery has its foundation of the ancient practice. Curiously, the Bible never describes the method of instruments used to make the selection. The Bible use of casting lots is probably a general term used to refer to any form of unbiased random selection. So yes, if you play the lottery, you are a part of casting lots because it's a random selection. They use that machine on the lottery and you're putting your bets in that you're going to get your number called. And what did we just see in here about when in verse 20, Acts chapter 1 verses 26, and the lots fell upon Matthias and he was numbered the 11th apostle. So playing the lottery is a form of casting lots, if you didn't know. To all my people that love playing the lottery, and I've never played the lottery a day in my life. It was something about it that I had to this day, y'all. I've never cast a lottery ticket. I just never have done it. It was something about it that I did, something that never felt right about it that I didn't like. Okay. So I've never played, like people that play number houses. I've never done that either. Okay. So it has right here thing that is a certain from the Bible's reference to casting lots is the people who utilize a lot did not believe its outcome to be entirely random. They believe God affected and influenced the outcome. The Bible confirms this as true, and throughout the scriptures we see God's approval of the lot as a means of discerning his will. Okay, what? It had the Bible confirms this as true, and throughout the scriptures we see God's approval of the lot as a means of discerning his will. And I said that back then when he said, when they cast lots. So Proverbs 16:33. Okay, Proverbs 16:33. Y'all, this stuff be tripping me out. But this is proof of why lots got demonized. I guess you got to think, especially after the crucifixion of Yeshua Christ, they demonized it because they cast lots to determine Christ's death and determine the splitting of his clothes and stuff. Ain't that some stuff? So Proverbs 16:33. It has right here, the lot is cast into the lap, but the whole disposing thereof is of the Lord. Okay. So when it says the lot is cast into the lap, but the whole disposing thereof is of the Lord, that just means the decision is the Lord's. Even though they cast a lot, whatever the lot says, this is the Lord's will. Okay, let's ring the bell. This is the Lord's will. This is the Lord's will, as they said. And I also got the dice, y'all. So that's what I'm saying. This is not new. It was demonized, but it's not new. It's just not new, y'all. Okay, so I showed y'all what lots look like and the other forms of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and read now. This is on a website that I'm gonna read from, and y'all are free to if you want to get this website, you can email at sacredenergyexchange222@gmail.com. This is a good website. I'm not sure if it's a Christian website or not, but they very much describe very real all these Bible verses and stuff and give a lot of information. Okay, so sacredenergyexchange222@gmail.com. Or you know what? Actually, I take it back. Goddess of Wisdom 222@gmail.com. I take it back. That's like my information email. Goddess of Wisdom 222@gmail.com. If you would like to me to email you this, okay? So, it has right here. I'm going to read from this. It says, casting lots was a method used by the Jews of the Old Testament and by the Christian disciples prior to Pentecost to determine the will of God. Lots could be sticks with markings, stones with symbol, etc., which were thrown into a small area, and then the results were interpreted. The lot is cast into the lap, but its every decision is from the Lord. Proverbs 16:33. We just read that. There are many instances of casting lots in the Bible, and it is. They're gonna cast a lot, but the final decision is up to the Lord. So it got right here. In the Bible, the practice was used in a variety of circumstances, including the selection of scapegoats. Leviticus 16:8-10. Let's read that, okay? Let's read that, okay? Leviticus, Leviticus is a crazy, it's a one crazy chapter if you ask me, okay? It's a one crazy, so Leviticus chapter 16:8-10. We're going to read all three of those too. We're going to read all three of those. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank y'all for the likes. Please like, share, and subscribe. So this is Leviticus chapter 16, verses 8-10, y'all. It says right here, and Aaron shall cast lots upon the two goats. It's always a goat, man. And Aaron shall cast lots upon the two goats, one lot for the Lord and the other lot for the scapegoat. Let's ring the bell. Now, if you do not know, y'all know the Baphomet is supposedly symbolism of a god, right? And it's also associated with the Capricorn, which is the goat. Okay? And anytime you give somebody a compliment that they're extremely wise or they're extremely strong or they're extremely powerful, you call them he the goat or she the goat. That's a compliment, right? So how did the Baphomet get demonized when it sounds like it's a compliment to me, being a goat? Okay? So it has right here, and Aaron shall bring the goat upon which the Lord lot fell. Ooh. And Aaron shall bring the goat upon which the Lord's lot fell. Which the Lord's lot fell. What? And offer him for a sin offering. But the goat on which the lot fell to be the scapegoat shall be presented alive before the Lord to make an atonement with him and to let him go for a scapegoat into the wilderness. So look, this is getting back to, if y'all looked at my last live that I did, I believe it was the what was it? It wasn't the solitary witch. It may have been the solitary witch part 5, where I talked about the blood sacrifice and stuff, and the animal sacrificial practices that they always have done, that they try to demonize in other spiritual cultures like voodoo that do it, as if we didn't, blood sacrifices didn't come from this. This was a blood, the goat was being offered like a blood sacrifice, just like Abraham was offered to cast his son as a blood sacrifice, but thankfully his son was spared and a ram appeared. Just want y'all to know that, okay? So that was Leviticus 16, 8 through 10, okay? It also got right here the allocation of the tribal inheritance in the promised lands and the termination of families who had to relocate to give a proper distribution of the populace of the warriors who had to go to war were only a percentage that were required. So they like I said earlier, they used all of this stuff to determine property, who got what, who had to leave. You know what I'm saying? And I do feel like to some degree, this prevented a lot of war, because instead of them trying to come down to a decision between themselves, which nobody most of the time ever could, let's leave it up to God, right? Let's cast the stone. And whatever the stone say, it is what it is. And that became dangerous to some people. So let's go to Numbers chapter 26, verse 55 through 56, okay? Numbers chapter 26. Y'all, this Bible is, it be like, what? What? Like, because this is the stuff, I don't know about you, but my pastor wasn't talking about this. Now, I'm not saying I've never heard these Bible verses before, but he didn't break it down like that. Like, what's these lots they kept casting? Especially the part about how they use lots to determine Christ's death, as well as the property of his clothing, his bloody clothing as he's on the cross. See, that wasn't broken down in church. They skipped over that. They just kept going. They wanted you to focus just specifically on the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, not all the other hidden symbolism that we didn't understand. That was on purpose, y'all. That's why it's called indoctrination. Okay? And witchcraft in the church. So, Numbers chapter 26, verse 55 through 56. Give me a second. I'm still getting there. Okay? Here we are. Okay? So it says right here, Numbers chapter 26, verse 55 through 56, okay? Making sure I'm in the right place. Here we are. Notwithstanding, the land shall be divided by lot. According to the names of the tribes of their fathers, they shall inherit. According to the lot shall the possession thereof be divided between many and few. Let's ring the bell. Now, y'all heard that. It was clear. Because y'all know the Bible is written in such a way that we don't speak anymore. We don't know how to comprehend it, okay? But this is telling you, they had to cast the lots according to the names of the tribes, and their fathers shall inherit it. They would, so you over, y'all, this tribe over here, this tribe over here, this tribe over here. Let's cast the lot and see what it say. And according to the lot shall the possessions thereof be divided up between many and few. So whatever the lot says, we're going to just split this up, y'all, and then call it even and go on about our business and be at peace. This was witchcraft for sure. This was spiritual. That's why I tell people the Bible is a book of spells. This is spirituality in the Bible. Okay. This is spirituality in the Bible. All right. They ordered a priest and their duties and tribal inheritances in the promised land with this. And it says gave proper decisions for warriors who had to go to war. See what I'm saying? They even decided that, which goes back to what I said in another live. I think it was the, what is it called? Solitary Witch Part 5. I talked about how there was a Haitian voodoo priestess that helped win the Haitian Revolutionary War with a ritual. And if you ever seen 300, remember what they had to do. Consult the oracle, the matrix, right? Consult the oracle. No warriors, no wars were ever done unless you. And then, if you remember, he had to go to the council too, but the oracle made the final decision. So later on in life, they started getting away from spiritual tools like throwing lots and stuff, and they would just go directly to the source, the woman. Consult the oracle. They would go straight to the source, and they show that in movies all the time. Remember the 300? Weren't that the Greeks fighting the Persians? And then the Persians fight the Egyptians. I talked y'all about that. The Persians was one of the a big gang here, trying to take over everybody. They wanted to conquer all. Okay, so that was, where was we at? Numbers chapter 26 verses 55 through 56. They use this stuff to make a lot of decisions, y'all. Now it has right here. Scriptures cites many instances of people casting lots, and it seems to be when important decisions need to be made, but there was not enough guidance that already had been provided through wisdom and of scriptures. Also, God never condemned the casting of lots in the Bible. Let's ring the bell. Exactly. That's another thing. We condemn the casting of lots and ruin stones. People, man. Even the book, the God himself that said we could use casting lots, the Lord, y'all heard them Bible verses if you didn't go back, that the Lord gave permission for us to cast lots in his name, never demonized it. So it must have been his will. Ain't that something? It must have been his will. So we got Leviticus 16, 8 through 10. We're gonna read that, okay? I think we read that one. Let me see. Yeah, we read that one already. We read Leviticus 16 through 18 about Aaron and them and the two goats. And we read First Chronicles 25 and verse 8. And next we're going to read Nehemiah 10 verse 34. Let's read that one. Nehemiah 10 verse 34, okay? So Nehemiah, let me see. It's going to be in the Old Testament as well. If you got a Bible, you can go to it, or you can just take notes now so you can go back to it later. So Nehemiah chapter 10, verse 34. All right. So it says right here, and we cast the lots among the priests. Listen to that. They cast the lots among the priests, the Levites, and the people for the wood offering, to bring it into the house of our God after the house of our fathers, at times appointed year by year, to burn upon the altar of the Lord our God, as it is written in the law. Whoa, man, whoa. Now, y'all heard altar, y'all heard wood offering. So if y'all don't know, I got my witches conjuring festival coming up, and we're going to be having a fire pit, a bonfire, right? This is nothing new. And I told y'all an altar will be set up. Now, I'm not saying that's where I got this doing that from. No, this has been a spiritual practice in general across cultures. Bonfires. It's a pagans did it, you know what I'm saying? And giving wood offerings. The wood is the offering, because you got to think the wood is what the fire is able to burn and keep us warm. So everything is a sacrifice, including wood. It's still, because guess what? Some tree had to get cut down and destroyed for us to have that wood. And we know the trees are oxygen for us. So cutting down too many trees could kill us too. So we got to give gratitude for that burnt offering, whether it be an animal or a tree or a herb. That's why you actually supposed to always give thanks over your food. It doesn't matter. Give thanks, because something was sacrificed for you to eat that apple, for you to eat them grapes, for you to eat that spinach. You had to pull it from the ground to eat it. It's still everything is alive. This is planet Earth. Everything is alive. Okay? So that was Nehemiah 10, verse 34, about casting lots. And remember, when they say cast, that is some form of a ritual. Casting lots. Every time they use that term. So now we got Psalms verses 22, verse 18. Y'all know we love the book of Psalms. I know a lot of people love the book of Psalms, okay? I believe Psalms is in the New Testament. I think so. No, it's the Old Testament, my bad. Psalms is in the Old Testament. So Psalms. Thank y'all so much. We still doing good because I said I wasn't going to be here all day. And y'all know, yeah, I've been tired. I don't know about y'all. Make sure y'all getting plenty of rest and drinking plenty of water, okay? And taking breaks. So Psalms chapter 22, verse 18. The book of Psalms, y'all. Where my hoodoos at? All right, so 22, verse 18, the book of Psalms. So it says, they part my garments among them and cast lots upon my vesture. Okay? And here they divide my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. So that's another thing. They tended to cast lots on the person's clothing too, and see what it lands on too, and to get decisions. And that is in Psalms 22:18. Cast the lots. So I want to read. Let me see. I may tell all my bones, they look and stare upon me. They part my garments among them and cast lots upon my vesture. Mm. But be not thou far from me, O Lord, my strength, haste thee to help me. Deliver my soul from the sword, my darling, from the power of the dog. Save me from the lion's mouth, for thou hast heard me from the horns and unicorns. Man. So look, that's another thing. Must be somebody's judgment. So they cast the lots on you, on your clothes specifically, on your garments, all right? Now, the last one we're going to be going to is going to be Matthew 27, verse 35, and that is in the New Testament. Matthew chapter 27, verse 35. All right? Okay, y'all. So, it has right here, and they crucified him and parted his garments, casting lots, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet. They parted my garment among them, and upon my vesture did they cast lots. Did he just say that in Psalms? Didn't they just say that in the book of Psalms? So in the book of Psalms, chapter 22, 18, and Matthew 27, 35 says the same thing. This time they're speaking specifically of they crucify him. So are they still talking about Christ? They didn't say in Psalms, but somebody was pleading for mercy. If you heard them verses I read, that's why if you want to go back, read Psalms chapter 22, read the whole chapter 22 of the book of Psalms so you can get the whole story. But you heard a couple of verses that I read about her saying, send the lion to save me. Somebody was pleading for their life because maybe something that got judged by the casting of the lots wasn't something they wanted. They didn't think it was fair. So that's another thing. It could be dangerous. Because just imagine, I'm not saying this happened. This is just a scenario. Just imagine somebody was truly innocent, right? And then a lot was cast that they were guilty and they had to die and they know for real that they're innocent. You don't think that happened? Ain't that kind of like what happens now? Science has failed us. You know what I'm saying? They've done, evidence has gotten lost or mixed up or manipulated or stolen or whatever, and people have been innocently wrongfully convicted. People have planted evidence and corrupted crime scenes. See what I'm saying? And since it's a tool, people can manipulate the tool because you got to think we're the creators of the tool, y'all. So let's just prime example. Let's just say we make tools, and we see. Remember these are. I'm gonna show you the other picture again. These are the lots. They look just like ruins. So we're the creators of these. We could put on there death, bloodshed, mass shooting. We could put anything on stones that we wanted to and say cast a lot, and whatever come, this person has to die by these means. You see what I'm saying? We're the practitioners. So you can't damn the practice. You got to figure out who the creator and who what they're utilizing the practice for. That's who should be in trouble, not the practice. But that's what they was doing. Let's ring the bell. And that was just a scenario. You got to think, because who made these stones, y'all? God didn't make them. A man or a woman made them. And they will find stones, sticks, like I said, and draw symbols on them. Same thing with tarot cards. We make these tarot cards. God ain't made these tarot cards. We made them. Okay. And we already read Acts chapter 1, verse 26. But it brings it up again. And they Acts chapter 1, verse 26, and they drew lots for them, and the lots fell to Matthias, and he was numbered the 11th apostle. But we already read that. But it has right here in the New Testament, after Judas killed himself, the disciples cast lots to see who would be his replacement. We read that. The lot fell to Matthias, but this was before Pentecost, since the New Testament does not have any instances of Christians casting lots to discern the will of God after Pentecost, which is why we get what is in Pentecostals. We got them Pentecostals, and that's why Pentecostals think they're the right way, because they wasn't doing this stuff no more. It got right here. Casting lots to discern the will of God after Pentecost, we conclude that after the arrival of the Holy Spirit, and this is when the Holy Spirit took over, y'all. God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. This is when this stuff started taking over. But guess what? Who said to change that? The people that was in the same court systems, they used to use the same court systems and judgment systems to cast lots. Now they saying we're going by this now. This is man-made religion at its finest. So we got right here. After the arrival of the Holy Spirit, we do not need to rely on the method, but instead must rely on the ministry of the Holy Spirit and the further relations found in the New Testament. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. So anytime they felt like it, which is pretty much what happens today in this court system, it's still the same people, y'all. It's still the same stuff that has changed all this time. That's why this is a biblical corporation. They just change stuff whenever they feel like it. The law keeps getting changed. The law is going to be able to be changed for whoever is in power. So obviously, whoever's in power, that means they can enforce their religious beliefs onto you, which is why King James wrote his Bible. And King James wrote his version of the Bible that he wanted his kingdom to follow, because he's the ruler. So whoever's in rulership has the power, whether they be good or bad for the people. That's all this is, y'all. And if you do not know, King James, he wrote a book called Demonology. He was definitely practicing some witchcraft. Especially if he kept on pushing this Bible. So, like I told you, if you would like this website, because it has more verses that I chose not to go to because it was just too many. I can show y'all right here so y'all can do a screenshot if you want to. But see, look, these are some different Bible verses if y'all want to do a screenshot right there that you can go to. So they give a number amount of Bible verses that literally speaks throughout the Bible about casting lots, okay? And I told y'all, thankfully, the dice that I have, the lots and the ruined stones that I have are based on astrology and positive things. You see what I'm saying? I'm a fortune teller. It's a positive things on my ruined stones. So you can get positive things. It's not focused on negative outcomes, but they can be used for that, as you can see. They were used in the Bible to judge people in negative ways, through including death penalties, death decisions. So we're the inventors and we're the creators, y'all, and we're the controllers of this stuff. Okay? And we're the magicians and the alchemists. We are the great I am. We are I am, the children of the Most High. What we say goes. So don't be letting them fool you and trying to make it seem like we're demonic. Now the practitioner and whatever they putting out can be demonic. And whatever their teachings are, like it was talking about teachers and instructors, that can be demonic. Okay. Let me make sure I covered everything. I believe I covered everything. All right, I did cover everything. Thank y'all so much for coming to this lecture today. I'm going to go back and probably read this myself, but I'm probably about to take me a little nap. This is normally my day of rest, okay? I just choose to rest. I do have an event that I'm working tomorrow. It's called the Witches United Celebration. It's a Labor Day event. Or tomorrow, I'm going to be in Antioch, Tennessee at Roquio's Spiritual Botanica doing readings from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So if y'all would like to come out and get a reading by me, please do. All right, I will be there all day, and then I'll be back at my shop the rest of the week up until every day. I have another event coming up on the 21st uh and the 27th coming up this month. I will speak about those later as those dates get closer. Let's hit September 1st. So the next time I go live, I'll be speaking about that. I don't believe we do got a full moon coming up. I can't remember what sign is in right now, but we got a full moon coming up. So y'all know, get y'all manifestations in order. Okay? Let's ring the bell. Get your manifestations order. Go ahead and book readings with me. Y'all know I'm charging full price for all my readings. Email me at sacredenergyschange222@gmail.com if you would like a tarot reading from me. And if you want to get information about the website I was telling you I was getting these Bible verses from and the descriptions they was giving, you can email me at goddessofwisdom222@gmail.com. If you would like to get you some rune stones, and they do come with instructions or some lots, some dice, some astrology dice, you can go to my website, goddessonarise.life, and get them. Or if you're here locally in Nashville, Tennessee, you can come to my shop. You have to contact me first to come to my shop, because like tomorrow I'm not going to be here because I have an event. If I don't have any appointments, I'm going to go out and then. Okay. So thank y'all so much. I'm going to ring this bell and send this energy back to spirit. All right. Earth, air, fire, water, spirit. Y'all, until next time, peace, love, and balance. Happy Sunday. Happy Domingo Day. Copper Queen checking out.